This is the Conscious Radio Network.
Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you might be on this spaceship we call Earth. Welcome to Conscious Radio Network's live weekly podcast series, The Weekly Seance. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Paul Mekas. If this is your first time tuning in, please click subscribe, like, share, and comment on the YouTube channel. You can also listen to this podcast on Libsyn, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcast, and soon Apple Podcast. Tonight, energy is made, everything is made up of energy. However, not everything is created the exact same way. So why should humans be the exception? Tonight, joining us, Nicole Marie is a medically retired Navy veteran, single mother. Throughout her military experience, she was diagnosed with two rare conditions. I'm not going to name them. We're going to get into that. She has had a total of 11 surgeries and has used this in her experience to seek holistic care. In an attempt to regain control, in doing so, she connected with human design that allowed her to gain clarity on her specific energy type, which became a game changer. Now she is dedicated to empowering other women, children, veterans to dive deeper into their knowing by connecting with their unique energy makeup. She uses her experiences gained from her time spent in the military in combination with learning with interacting with her son, as well as a course that she has taken to bring her to these unique gifts in her life. Let's welcome tonight, Nicole Marie. Welcome, Nicole.
Yay!
Woohoo! Yeah.
Yes, that was a warm welcome. I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you for having me. I'm so grateful to be here.
You are very, very, very welcome. So, I'm not sure where we're going to start. I don't want to start with the military thing, but let's go back. Let's go back, obviously, where this started. How, we'll have to go back of these.
As I say, we're going to have to go back to the military thing because that's kind of where it started for me.
Yeah.
So I was medically retired at the age of 23. I've had 11 surgeries before I was 31 years old.
Wow.
And I always say this, I live a very different experience than most people. At 23 years old, literally society looked at me and said, "Thank you for all that you've done. Nice seeing you." And I'm like, I would remember like calling my mom and saying, "Okay, mom, like, what do I do now?" And she'd be like, "I don't know, Nicole, figure it out." I'm like, all right. So it was this, I got out of the military. I was on 17 different medications. I did everything that they told me to do. They say, take a pill at this time. I took the pill. They said, eat a carrot at this time. I ate the carrot. Like I was doing the things, but there was this disconnect.
Yeah.
Like it was like food started to like not taste good. Colors started to be just dull. And it got to this point in my experience where I felt like I was just existing. Right? Like I was like just on this planet doing these things. And I didn't feel like I had a contribution, like everywhere else where they were going to work and doing the 9 to 5 and they had these dreams and these goals. So I got married shortly after me being discharged from the military, and I loved it. It was great to play house for a little while. My ex-husband had 2 kids and, we had a child together, and being a mom like became the light of my life. But my body was not keeping up with my mind at that point.
Yeah.
And I started having other issues. I found myself being severely overweight. I was 231 pounds at my heaviest. I was on a bunch of medications, and I started having reoccurring issues with my PTSD. I started having reoccurring issues, with my anxiety and insomnia, to the point where it was like affecting me sleeping. It started affecting our marriage. And there was a lot of things. So in 2017, and my ex-husband probably will get mad if I tell this story, but he's my ex-husband for a reason. So here we go. In 2017, he was literally in the bathroom, and I barged in and I said, "Hey, I'm going to compete in one of those bodybuilding competitions." And he was like, what? And I'm like, like them little bikini girls, like on stage, like I'm going to compete in one of those.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, like, okay. Like you could tell he was trying to be very supportive of the fact that his wife, who he knew had all of these medical issues, who was overweight, wanted to do this like crazy extreme thing. And he was just, his only response was, okay, but I'm not doing it with you. I was like, that's fine. In that moment, I don't think either one of us realized how serious that I was and how committed I was to this journey. But I did it. 13 months, I lost over 116 pounds. I stepped on stage. I placed 5th out of 27. And I mean, the fact that I even placed anything was incredible. For me, it was the experience. It was the opportunity to do something different and feel like I had a purpose again. At the end of that, that's when things kind of hit the fan a little bit. The marriage kind of came to an end, and then the mental aspect really started to kind of amplify. So the theme that you're going to hear in my story is that stage 1 was physical, stage 2 was mental, and then stage 3 was when the spiritual came in. So we are now at stage 2, and this is the mental part of it. My family started to kind of go away. The body, I was like in the best shape of my life. And I really started to kind of have this boost of confidence, but there was still something that like wasn't quite right. I have 2 veteran friends, an Army and an Air Force guy. And that's not the start of a joke, right? 3 veterans sitting on a couch.
Yeah.
So we were sitting down and we were talking, and the Army guy, because of course they always are the ones that recommend the crazy ideas, he was like, hey, why don't the 3 of us go and hike Big Cypress? Now, for those of you who don't know, Big Cypress is the start of the Florida Trail down in South Florida, and it goes through the Everglades. It's a 32.7 mile hike in water up past my knees.
Wow.
Yeah. So 3 veterans in the woods, a backpack, a hammock, and we were out here doing this. In that moment, I was questioning everything. I was questioning, my place in the environment. I was questioning my place on the planet. I was questioning my purpose on this planet. And I was definitely questioning my choice in friends, because I was like, oh, maybe I need to reevaluate that.
Yeah.
But at the end of that trip, I realized that I was a part of nature. I was a part of this, and my purpose was deeper than just a 9-to-5 job, right? It was deeper than, doing the things that society told me that I should do. I didn't know what that was, but I felt like for the first time we were moving in the right direction. So in 2020, as it did with everybody, 2020 knocked on my door and decided to smack me in the face with the realization of things were about to change. And that they did. I was told in 2020 that I was going to have my 11th surgery, and that was going to be a fusion of the C5, C6, and C7 vertebrae in my neck. Now, as a recently single mom of my baby, he was 3 at the time, doing things different, it was a shock. I remember like calling my mom, being like, Mom, like, what do I do? And her answer is always, we'll figure it out, Nicole. So I remember going on Facebook Marketplace and finding an old lady chair for $25. Now, for those of you who don't know what an old lady chair, in my mind, an old lady chair was like one of those like high back, like, how grandpa had his recliner? Well, like the old ladies had like their little chair with an ottoman, and, it had some sort of pink embroidery on it and the big, heavy arm things. And it was a big comfy couch just for me. So I got me an old lady chair for like $25. I got me some healing stones, and I got a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And in that moment, I committed and set an intention to heal mind, body, and spirit. Now, again, at the time, I had no idea what the heck I was saying or what I was doing, but it really like overly set the wave for what was about to happen. During that time, that book was a game changer for me because it allowed me to turn off, right? Like, what does that even mean? Most people are like, what does that mean? Turn off. We
Yeah.
grow up in this society, and since the baby is born, we teach the baby the name, his name, her name. You know, we try to teach her to talk, walk, you know, all of these things. And we are consistently, you know, congratulating the baby and making this baby, you know, work for incentives of turning on and what you can do. And it's all about what you can do. But when we talk about how do you be or just to be, nobody knows what we're talking about because
Yeah.
we never learned how to turn that off. And so that was stage one for me, turning it off, learning how to just be, right? Learning how to just be okay in my energy. And then things started happening, and I'm like, okay, but I still like, I get the turning off thing, but like, I'm trying to go down this process of just being. And why is it my being is different than everybody else's being? Like, if all of us are humans and we all bleed the same and we all are the same, then why is it so much more difficult? Then why is my body burning out like at 31 years old when everybody else is, you know, working until their 60s? Like, I had all of these whys. I learned a lesson that day or that year that if you ask the universe why, they 100% will answer you back. And it's not what you want to hear, it's what you need to hear.
Yeah.
And so through an app called Clubhouse, I connected with this group of people, and we were in a room, and this girl goes, "Hey, I really need to talk to you. Have you heard of human design?" And I said, "I have no idea what you're talking about." And she was like, "I feel like I have a message for you." And now, mind you, Clubhouse is like an open forum. So like anyone can go in, you see all of these different rooms. You know, sometimes there's 5, 10 people in a room. Sometimes there's 200, you know, to 1,000 people in a room.
Wow.
And it's all like drop-in audio. So there was about 10 people in this room, and everyone left. Like, just all, when she said she had a message for me, I was like, oh, the universe is making this, like, this is a message for me. And so she goes, "I really want to talk to you about this." So we started, you know, kind of having a conversation. She explained to me the basics of it. And she's like, "I don't know a lot, but I feel like if I give you the information, you'll know what to do with it." So she explained to me that I was a projector. And I'm going to explain to you why that's important. But in that moment, when she explained to me that I was a projector, I got clarity for the first time as to what was different about me being than everybody else.
Yeah.
So that's my story that's going to lead up into the human design talk. Now, when I started learning about this, right, I learned that human design, and you said it in the introduction, everything is created of energy, but not everything is created of the exact same energy. And what that means is that if everything was created of the exact same energy, everything would look the same, sound the same, smell the same, taste the same. But because energy is different, it's transmutable. Everything is able to appear. We have trees, we have birds, we have grass, we have all these different animals and these different things because of the fact that energy is different. So when we have this mindset of humans, we've always been told, like, kind of been in a one size fits all approach. And if you didn't fit the social norms, then there was diagnosis, such as Asperger's, ADHD, you know, different things that were to justify why you aren't like everyone else. When in all reality, if we were to take a look a little bit deeper and connect with the energy inside of you, those diagnoses will that you'll understand where they're coming from. You will understand the difference in the flow in your energy and why that is the way it is. Now, I want to be clear on two things. Number one, I am not a doctor and I do not give out medical advice. And the second thing is that this is not a trick that says, oh, if you understand your energy, the conditions go away. That's not what it is. I still very much deal with the conditions that I've been dealt with, or that I have, you know, formed in my body. The way that I approach my healing is completely different now. Therefore, the results that I have are completely different because now I am working with the flow of my energy instead of creating the resistance, right, that I was creating once before by doing things in a way that wasn't authentic to me. So that's a big thing that we need to be clear on. Human design is a combination of the I Ching, the tree of life, Kabbalah, astrology, and science, specifically in quantum science. What it does is it's a compound, and it talks about how the energy is stored uniquely inside your vessel. It goes even deeper, and it talks about the decision-making factor inside of you. It talks about how you're here to do what you're meant to do. It talks about the environment that you thrive best in, your digestive system. It goes in great detail to talk about how to utilize the energy inside of you in a way that is completely authentic to you. And it's no longer what works for the collective. It's about the individual. And that's what's really important here when we're talking about healing, when we're talking about metaphysical, when we're talking about anything in the spiritual realm, we're talking about the individual. We're talking about the integrity and the well-being and the wellness, the health, the mind, body, and spirit balance of the individual. So there are 4 aura types, and there are 5 energetic types. Now, I'm going to explain to you why there's the difference between 4 and 5, and that's because 2 energetic types share the same aura, okay? So we're going to start, and I'll go down just the very basics of this. I am not going to go into too much depth in regards to individual circuitry. There is a website, there's many websites that you can look up. Bodygraph.io is one of my favorites to be able to get a really in-depth chart. I love the guys over there who created that chart. I feel like they're very impeccable with their word, and they very much follow the traditions and the teachings of Ra Uru U, and he is the original transcriber of human design. So that's a great resource. There's also other incredible ones. I know Jenna Zoe has her website, and it's called My Human Design, and there's bodygraph.com, there's humandesign.com. So there's a bunch of resources out there. All of them are very credible ways, especially when it comes to doing your chart. There's also quantum human design, and each of these just offer a different perspective of the same thing, because at the end of the day, the goal is to talk about your energy. So if you're looking, as I'm explaining this to you, if you would like to real time look at your own chart, any of those websites that I name would be a great opportunity and a great resource for you. So now let's go back to the auras. We have 4 aura types and 5 energetic types. The first aura type that we're going to talk about is the manifestors. Manifestors make up about 9% of the population. They have a very repelling aura. And the way that I like to explain this is repelling aura. Basically, their aura tells everyone, get away, leave me alone. I'll come and find you when I got something to say. Their strategy, meaning how do they utilize their energy and how do they tap into it, is to inform. So 9% of the population have an open sacral, and they're here as manifestors to inform. They initiate within and they have to inform before they can initiate. The second type, and this is the aura type that I told you has 2 energetic types with it, is the generator type. They make up about 70 to 75% of the population currently. Matter of fact, they are the type that our society in this day is geared towards, because they make up the majority of the population. There is 2 energetic types in this, like I stated before. We have manifesting generators, which is a hybrid. They have the ability to initiate within a response, and we have generators. The strategy for both of them is the same. They are here to respond. And I would like to invite you to think of literally every TV commercial ever created, and think about how these slogans are geared to trigger a response in people, right? And that's because they realized that the majority of the people are going to respond based on this idea. Like if you see an ad and it's a bunch of people eating at a restaurant and it's showing like they're having a good time and everybody's relaxing, and then they say, hey, like come join us if you want to have this good time. It's subconsciously triggering a reaction inside of you that's getting you to respond saying, hey, I want to do that. And we go. The issue that I have found in my experience, and this was the part that I kind of kept hitting the resistance, was that when I was responding like everyone else told me to, I was getting a very different reaction. And not only when I was responding, something inside of me was happening and I didn't like it. Like I would respond and people would, it would just kind of shut me down and I would become bitter. This is going to take us into our third type. The third type are the projectors. That's what I am. We make up 22% of the population, and our strategy is to wait for an invitation. Now think about that. If my strategy is to wait for an invitation and I was brought up to respond, there's going to be a misalignment with how I'm utilizing my energy, because my energy was meant to wait to be invited. That was a lot of the issues that I was having. Each of these types has a not self theme. We'll talk about it more in a bit, but for projectors, the not self theme is bitterness. So what was happening was I would come in, I would offer my insight, I would offer unsolicited advice because I didn't know that I wasn't invited. And then all of the sudden I was becoming bitter and I didn't like it, right? This is something that we refer to as being salty. I was getting a little salty and I didn't like it. I didn't want all that, right? So allowing myself to connect with the energy for me became a game changer. It made me understand that the defined sacral center that the generators and the manifesting generators have, which literally houses 80% of their life force energy, I was completely open. This energy, that source, that divine sacral, I did not have. And that's what made me a projector. Projectors are the guides or the seers. We have the ability to see energy in a very unique way. We have the ability to guide energy in a very unique way. And it's because we have that open sacral center that we're constantly filtering energy through our sacral that we're able to then turn around and guide. Right? We're able to give advice. We're able to, help people get clarity on things. In the human design world, the projectors are often compared to as birds. So if you think of like a bird way up in a tree, just kind of looking down, we're not like on the floor with the lions and the zebras. We're not like doing things. I actually think of Lion Guard. My son used to like, that's a favorite show of his. And Ono was the bird that flew up in the air with the perspective. So to me, projectors are like Ono. Like we're the ones who are like flying around and we have like this bird's eye view. We can see things in a very unique way, and we can talk and guide the animals on the ground and say, hey, maybe you should go left here instead of right because I see a tree up ahead, right? So the last type, and I have the blessed opportunity to be friends with two of these types. They're super rare. They make up 1% of the population, and they're the reflectors. And like I said, I'm blessed. I have two who I would consider very close friends of mine. And so I have worked with this type very intimately. And when we're talking about 1% of the population, meaning if we were to take 100 people in this room and we were to pull the human design charts of those, we may be lucky if there's one reflector in that space. And what the reflectors do is their energetic makeup is completely open. So every energy center inside of them is designed to be open and not closed off, which means they are constantly taking in from their environment. They're constantly sampling from their environment. Their strategy is a little bit different. They have to wait for a lunar cycle, which means 28.5 days. They set an intention, they wait through the moon cycle, they work with the energies, and they basically bring awareness into the things that they've been doing, into the things that they've been tinkering with, and that will show them the path that they're meant to be on. The reflectors are very much like their name. If you put them in the middle of a room, of a crowded room, and they're happy and they're go-lucky and they're outgoing, then that shows you that the flow of the energy around them is harmonious and balanced, that everyone is, happy-go-lucky and they're taking in from their environment, and so they're able to have a good time. But if you put that same reflector in the middle of a room where there is toxicity, there is any sort of discord, any sort of anger or like frustration, then you're going to notice the mood of the reflector change dramatically. And so that's what reflectors are really cool for, because even with my friends, I always say reflectors are for clarity, right? You can always go to your reflector friend, talk to them, and they'll give you clarity. They'll be able to see things by being able to talk about the wisdom that they have from everything that they're sampling in. So that's the rundown of the 5 types and the 4 aura types and the basics. Like I said, so currently our society is geared towards generators because of the fact that they make up 70 to 75% of the population. However, for me, it was a big game changer learning that I was a projector and really understanding and utilizing that energy in a way that's authentic.
Yeah.
So when I sit down with my clients, there's three things that we look at: the type of energy you are, the authority you are, and the profile. There's so many other things that this chart can teach you, but I feel like when we're starting, those are the basics. I'm going to get some water first.
I second that.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah. Can't drink enough of
That
that
life
stuff.
force, right? I know it's that life force energy with all that water just coming
Yeah.
straight into you. So we're going to go back: type, authority, and profile. The type is going to identify what type of energy you are and how to access that energy. So the strategy, right? Like whether we're informing, whether we're responding, whether we're waiting for an invitation, or whether we're waiting for a lunar cycle. So that's the step one. In step one, there's other details that we can go into, like, for example, whether you're split, single, triple split, or quad split, which that just talks about how is the energy access inside of the body, how many motor systems do you have, what is the flow like. So a single split is more of like a single flow. A double split means you have two distinct motor systems that do not connect to each other, which may sound like two contradictory systems in the mind. So I always say you're not crazy if you hear more than one voice, but it does tell me how many systems that you have talking to each other. So all of this is very vital information because it allows us to connect with how the energy is actually accessed inside of you. The second one is the authority. Now, statement, and you might not like it. It's okay. We'll get over it. Well, I'll make it better. I'll kiss the baby when it's done. Okay. So the authority is: no human on this planet is designed to make decisions with the voice in their head. I'm going to say that again. No human on this planet is designed to make decisions with the voice in their head. So then you might be thinking, okay, Nicole, well then how do I make decisions? It's very simple. Each human on this planet has an authority, and most humans on this planet have an inner authority. Now, I'm going to use myself as an example because of the fact that about 50% of the population right now on this planet has the same authority as me, and that is the emotional solar plexus. Now, what that means is that connecting with this energy type, understanding that I'm an emotional authority, means that I have to tune in to my emotions to make decisions that are aligned with me. Now, this energy ebbs and flows, and I like to think of like a wave. So we have the highs and the lows. And when we allow ourselves to tune into the emotions, we're allowing ourselves to go through an entire cycle of those emotions. Now, what that means for the emotional authorities is that they are not here to make decisions impulsively, right? Because from moment to moment, the emotions can change. I can be very excited one minute, and then I can think about it and I'd be like, wait a minute, what the heck? What was that? I use the example all of the time, like, especially for my emotional authorities. I was like, hey, so how many times have like your friends came to you and they were so excited and then they were like, hey, you want to go to a party Friday night? And you're like, yeah, sounds great. I'm hyped. I'm going to wear this. It's going to be this. We're going to leave at this time. And you get all the plans. And then you go home. And then the day of the event comes and I wake up and I look at the outfit that I said I was going to wear. And I was like, dang, I don't want to go. I don't want to do that. And that's because I've allowed myself to go through that entire cycle. And I realized once I got to that neutral zone, I wasn't excited as I thought it was. I could have been feeding off my environment. I could have had a rough day and things happened that I didn't account for. Like, there's so many different factors that could have played into that. Now, some of the other common authorities are like the gut, the sacral authority. So most of the generators and manifesting generators, they're going to have a sacral authority, which means tuning into that gut feeling. And that's a really big one. And usually when I say that, a lot of those people, their eyes light up. They're like, yeah, how did you know that? And that gut feeling is like, have you ever walked into a room and you like met a group of people and you're like, I don't know about this. Like, this ain't, like, you just got that feeling, that instinct in your gut where you're like, okay, this isn't right. tuning into that, even in the more subtle moments, sometimes those gut feelings can feel like uh-huhs or uh-uhs. And so allowing yourself space, again, to not make decisions impulsively, tuning into the physical body, really tuning into the physical body and seeing in your stomach, in your gut, in your sacral, how that feels. That's allowing us to make decisions that are in alignment. That's allowing us to make decisions in a way that feels authentic to our energy. A lot of these conditions that we have, specifically inflammation, can manifest because our bodies, we're not tuning into the bodies, we're not listening to the bodies. And that pain is the body's way of saying, hey, pay attention to me. Something's not
Yeah.
functioning right.
Yeah.
Right.
That
So
also
when,
begs that begs the question too, is like that cliche everybody says, oh, I have a gut feeling.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of the time though, they're right. Like they might not know. And we've in the human design world, I've learned that gut feeling, instincts, like those words, we use them, but we don't really know what we're meaning, right? Because like I can say that like my instinct is to not do this, but it's really my emotional authority telling me like, no, you thought about this and this don't jive for us. But it's not really my instinct, right? It's trusting my intuition and trusting my cycle of my authority, but understanding that the way that society has taught us to use those words is different, right? So a gut feeling for you is going to be different than a gut feeling for me. We might feel it differently in our bodies. We might listen to it differently. We might react on it differently depending on our strategy, and depending on our energetic type. So it's the best thing about human design is understanding and connecting with your authentic energy. What makes you different from the rest of the world? And you are, I am. We are all a different expression, and we're here to be able to really optimize that and be our authentic selves and live in a way of an alignment. And there's so many tools and resources out there that allows us to do that. But step one in my experience is connecting with that energy, understanding or understanding what makes you different than everything around you. Okay. And so there's other authorities. And again, when I do the one-on-one sessions with clients, I go completely in deeper. If we were speaking about a specific chart, it would make a difference in some of those different authorities. But I don't want to overwhelm anybody with just kind of spewing knowledge. So we'll just kind of leave it at those two main ones. The next big thing that I like to talk about in my sessions is the profile. And the profile is how you're here to do what you're meant to do. It's your how, right? How do I use all of this energy in a way that's authentic? How do I process things? How do I interact with the world? And that's really important. So there are things that we call lines. There's 6 lines. We have a line 1, which is an investigator, a line 2, which is a hermit. And when I say hermit, I like to use the analogy of a hermit crab. So you have a hermit crab with the shell on their back, and they're walking around the ocean floor, being friends with all their little sea creatures. And then they decide they had enough. So they literally retreat back into the shell. They carry their home on their back always, and they go back in. And when they decided that they've rested or the trouble has passed or whatever, then they come back out and decide, all right, it's time to interact with my ocean friends again. Then we have the 3 line, which is the martyr. Also, I like to call it the experimenter, because the martyrs, the 3 lines, they really learn through experimenting. They really learn through trial and error. Let's just try it out and see how it goes, right? Then we have the 4 line, which is the opportunist. And the opportunist, they have this ability to go off energies that either they're creating opportunities for themselves, or they're going off the energies that are presented to them through their tribe and through like their connections. Then we have the 5 line, and the 5 line is the heretic. The 5 line is like they have this projection aura, and they're really the people that come to and they say, hey, do you have advice on this? Like they're really people that you're drawn to ask their opinions on. And then we have the 6 line. The 6 lines are considered the role models. These are actually happens in 3 phases. So the first 30 years of a 6 line's life is actually lived as a 3. It's the experimenter. And the second phase we call the rooftop phase, and that's where we really integrate the knowledge and the wisdom that came from experimenting, and that becomes like the integration process. And usually this phase goes from like 30 to 50-ish. And then as they hit the descent of the house of the rooftop is really when they become this energetic like role model, right? Like now they're embodying this energy and they are able to really showcase that role model-esque part of them. So when we're talking about the profiles, this is going to be a combination of the conscious and the subconscious, and it's going to have 2 of those numbers. So I am a 1-3. I am a 1-3 emotional projector, and I am triple split. So that's a lot, right? Like that's a mouthful. What this means is I have 3 distinct motor systems inside of me that are not connected, and I have 3 contradictory belief systems inside. So everybody has an opinion inside this vessel. And my job is to tune into my authority and trust my strategy to figure out which one of those is most in alignment with me. My emotional authority, like we talked about, is the decision-making process inside of me, and that allows me to trust the ebbs and flow of the energy, knowing that I don't make any decisions in a high, like when I'm overly excited, and I don't want to make any decisions when I'm in a low. I want to wait till I get to that neutral, that sweet spot, to make a decision that's aligned for me. Now, the 1-3, that's the investigator and the experimenter, the martyr. It's also known as the deliverer of truth and knowledge in human design. That's what that profile is called. So I am here to investigate. If you give me a topic, I'm going to go all the way in the rabbit hole. I'm going to learn all of the ins, the outs, the ups and downs. I'm going to overload myself with information. And because I have a triple split definition, I have a distinct set of friends, usually a projector and a reflector, because projectors get perspective. My reflector friend is for clarity, and I will word vomit on them and kind of find my way. So we call that soundboarding. So I'll be like, oh my God, I learned this thing, blah, 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 blah. Here's all the information about it. And then I will kind of find my own way, my own solution to that. But it's incredible because now I get to do things like this, and the wisdom that I have and the experience that I have has gained me or allowed me to really tap into that projector knowing. So, yeah, I just want to check in with you before I go, because I, as you could see, I could talk about this for hours.
Yeah. Now you offer, you're mentioning these charts. So
Yes.
if somebody wants to contact you to set up a chart for themselves, what's the best way for them to be able to contact you?
So the Instagram link that you have highlighting down at the bottom is probably going to be the easiest way. You can DM me there, and you can put that you heard me on the weekly seance. We are going to be offering 30-minute wellness sessions, and it's just going to go through the introduction of it. I do offer play work, so just know that if you message me, I'm going to make you do some homework. I use gratitude, I use play, I use time out in nature and yoga and stretching and different techniques to really help connect you with the oneness of your energy. These 30-minute sessions are offered for a love donation. So it's how you feel like impacted by it. We also offer deeper sessions and offerings. So we do one-on-one sessions for an hour, which is very in-depth. And that comes with a 15-minute follow-up. That's $111. And then we also have other offerings that we're in the process of putting together, where we can do like monthly plans and different things that really just kind of help connect you with the alignment. The other part of that is really connecting with and understanding the difference between the masculine and feminine energy inside the energy system. That's usually something that we will introduce like week 3, week 4. Because, you know, everything, if you think of like, you know, protons, electrons, neutrons, we know that everything has both a positive and negative charge. So when we're talking about energy, we know that humans have this ability of both masculine and feminine energy inside of them, regardless if you're a woman or a man, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
understanding that the difference between those energies and connecting with it and utilizing it, you know, to align yourself with your highest purpose, there's different phases of that. So when we're speaking about energy, because it's a completely new way of us looking at ourselves, I like to do it in bite-sized pieces. So I do like 30 minutes, see how you feel, then an hour, see how you feel. Then I'll check in with you throughout the week. And we're really working on creating a community. If you are on Clubhouse, we do offer weekly courses and activation ceremonies that are completely free. The club is Everlasting You on Clubhouse. You can go ahead and give us a follow. We actually have one coming up on Thursday, and it's going to be all about the conscious mind and being able to connect with your energy and manifesting through the consciousness, understanding the difference between the subconscious, the conscious, and the superconscious. So when we're utilizing this energy, we're understanding or understanding how to access it at its truest form, right? How to consciously create, how to consciously, and not only that, but the subconscious talks about the programming. And when we're connecting with the energy, so for example, for me being a projector, I had to connect with my subconscious because I had to unlearn. I had to unlearn how to respond because I was going over here responding to everybody all willy-nilly. And I wasn't, you know, waiting for my invitation. And so taking that time to get the clarity and unprogram some of these belief systems and these thought processes and these habits that I was raised with now is allowing me to move in a way of more alignment. So
Yeah. Yeah.
when we're talking about this, there's layers to it, right? Like step one is connecting with the type of energy you are. Then step two is really connecting with the gates and the channels that make up that energy, you know, understanding that each thing has a shadow and a gift, you know, understanding where your manifestation powers come in, how to utilize that. Like there's so many things that we can answer through this. And it's like I said, it's partnered with astrology. So for those of you who are already into astrology, this is going to be allowing you to see the energetic side of it, right? Like really allowing you to understand how those placements are relevant and how that energy is designed to kind of tap in, tune in, and turn on through that.
Yeah. And I would have also assumed too that once everybody, you know, gets their chart and they start to learn about what their energy is, what they're made of, how is this biomechanical machine running and operating, then
Right.
that person can then it becomes a systemic process, because
Absolutely.
wouldn't this also allow a person to understand, okay, well, this is not the right diet for me, even though I like eating it,
Oh
it's
yeah.
not really for me, and
It
other
becomes a
things.
complete game changer.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're when we tap into this, we're understanding certain things that like my family used to be like, oh well, that's Nicole, that's one of her weird quirks, right? Like it's like now
Yeah.
we're understanding why and how these weird quirks kind of came about. And it's not weird, it's just what makes me unique. And now I can take that weird quirk and I can channel it and use it as a gift and really just kind of optimize how I'm kind of tapping into this. So for me, it really became a game changer, like a huge game changer. We and I love this. One of there's a group of projector girls, and their name is De Luna. They teach us in California. They're beautiful beings. Both of them are projectors. Love them so much, and I follow them. And they said this thing. They're like, you know, it becomes JOMO, right? We all heard of FOMO, the fear of missing out. And
Yeah.
now they created this thing called JOMO, which is the joy of missing out, which once you start connecting with your energy, you realize that like if something's not in alignment with you, like if I don't want to do something, that's okay. Like that's okay. When we're talking about healing, and we're talking about going down and doing the shadow work, right? This is allowing us to see where those guilt wounds are being held, where those abandonment wounds are hiding out. And how do we kind of take that energy and transmute it into a way that we can utilize it, into a way that brings us satisfaction or success or peace or being surprised, right? Which is the signature of each of those energetic types. So when we allow ourselves to connect with this, we are giving ourselves the gift of perspective. We are giving ourselves the opportunity to see our own energetic type for what it's meant to be. We are no longer doing things because we feel like we have to. We are no longer doing things out of guilt or out of, being people pleasing. We're allowing ourselves space to set healthy boundaries and show up in a way as authentic. Today I woke up and I call my to-do list my ta-da list, because I realized that if I write all my things and I say ta-da when I'm done and I finish, it makes me feel better. Yeah. So I had this ta-da list of, I needed to do this client review and I had all these things. I woke up this morning, I did a gratitude room, I did one client call, I had lunch with a friend, and then I went and took a nap. I didn't do my to-do list. I decided, as a projector, we're not designed to work, 8 hours straight. We're designed to work in spurts and trust that energetic flow. And so I was able to give myself permission to take a nap. And I was no longer forcing myself to be like, well, I got to get it done. The baby's gone. I got to do this and I got to do that. And I got to get the house clean. It all got done. Yeah, it didn't get done in the time that I thought it was, but because I was tapping into the unique flow of my energy and I was trusting, right? I was trusting myself. I was trusting my instincts. I was trusting my intuition, my emotions, and I was really allowing myself to flow. I went and took a nap and I felt so much better. And now you're getting the best version of me because I'm able to tap into that energy. So this really changes the way that we interact in relationships. This changes the way that we view things, our mindset. It changes our views, like being aligned with our highest purpose, doing jobs and doing things that light us up instead of doing them because we think we need to just do it for a paycheck, right? Yeah, do I do this for a paycheck? It does bring me money, right? It happens. That's an energetic exchange. Money is an energetic exchange, but I do it because I love doing it. I do it because it means something to me and it made a difference in my experience. Therefore, I want to turn around and help as many people as I can with this. And now I'm no longer doing a job. I'm tapped into my life purpose. I'm doing my life's work.
Yeah, because I'm seeing this now. It's an opportunity for people to not only get in touch with themselves and understand how this machine works, but it allows people to understand where their place is in the matrix, so to speak, the outside world.
Yeah.
Because I notice it all the time. I'll get into a space or a place and I realize I'm like, there's something wrong here. I don't feel right. I don't, I'm not, it feels like I'm not supposed to be here, but I'm just doing the deed. And
right.
This program, this, that you're doing it, this will allow people to understand also their environment and where they should, and what their place is in it.
Yeah. Well, and I say this all the time. So the external is a direct reflection of the internal, right? So everything that's happening around you, the relationships, the situation, the jobs, that's a direct reflection of how the internal flow is around you. So if you're living in a life in this matrix and things are just in chaos and discord and they're not, what you desire, when you take a look inside and you know what you're looking at, right? So you're connecting with the energetic flow, you're understanding or understanding how that energy is connected inside of you and how it wants to flow, then the external world starts to change because everything has to match that frequency, right? You become into this place of wholeness. I am whole and I am complete. I understand my energy. There's nothing wrong with me. I am designed to flow in this unique way. And now I'm trusting those quirks. I'm leaning into that because I know that, that's just my little superpower. It might be quirky to you, but to me, that's how I flow. And so now I'm learning how to trust that and lean into that. And one of the things that I do, one of the techniques that I use to do that is gratitude. So what that may sound like is I am grateful for being aligned with my highest and truest self. I am grateful for being aligned with my highest purpose on this planet. I am grateful for trusting my unique flow. I am grateful for being able to creatively express myself. I am grateful for knowing that I am enough and that I am doing enough. They call me the gratitude stacking queen. I don't know who came up with that, but I've learned that when I started connecting with gratitude, and I started tapping into the frequency of gratitude, I was able to use gratitude and my human design chart, bringing awareness to these open centers that I have, and I'm using it now to pull myself in alignment. And now what's happening is, and the analogy that I use for this is like when you take a bow and arrow and you load the arrow into the back and you set it on the string and you pull that string way back and you set it. When I'm using gratitude and I'm bringing awareness into my human design chart, I'm bringing awareness into the flow in which that I want to use, I'm hitting my target every time because I'm trusting. I'm literally trusting the unique flow. I'm trusting, my energetics. I'm understanding and really connecting with, how that goes. And the gratitude, we use gratitude. If we are grateful for the things that we have not yet received as if we've already received them, it becomes a manifestation tool. And the Bible talks about it, right? And even in Buddhism, they talk about sharing gratitude and being grateful in that present moment and using it for alignment. So when we use gratitude in power with our human design, we're able to use it to bring ourselves into alignment. And now we're not taking things personally. Right now, we're not reacting to the world around us. We're able to kind of surrender and kind of lean into that energy type a little bit and kind of like relax and trust our placement. And it's no longer about what we're doing. It's about who we're being.
Yeah.
It becomes a big game changer.
Yeah, it's now this the energy or not energy design. We're talking,
Human design.
it's all energy, human design.
Yeah.
The human design, because I'm also looking at it too, because me working in the engineering field and electrical especially, I'm viewing all this too as an engineer or in an engineering mindset.
Right.
Is for those that are working against the grain and against the system, stuff like that, is kind of looking at a sine wave. And you're looking at the sine wave, and we're that other sine wave that's just
right.
It's not flowing. So
right. We're creating our own resistance.
by resonating with that and going with the sine wave, now you've got two sine waves that are resonating.
Right. Now we're, and another way to describe this is like, if you think of each of us like as a body of water, right? You have like different types of water that flows. And so we can either be going against the current, or we can kind of surrender it, connect with our energy, and now we become the current.
Yeah.
Right. So we're no longer fighting the current. We're no longer going against our energy. We're no longer, creating the resistance in our experience that we're witnessing. We're no longer creating the hardships. We are going with the grain.
Yeah.
And this allows us to choose and manifest and create and tap into the abundance that's our birthright. Right. And by connecting with our energy, we're allowing ourselves, or giving ourselves permission, we're inviting ourselves to be able to be our authentic selves all the time. Right. And if you don't know what that energy is or how to connect with that energy, then how are you able to be authentic?
Yeah. Morgan Rudnick says, gratitude goddess.
Yes. Morgan knows how I express gratitude. It's like literally one of my favorite things to do. I have, and no joke, I have at least 8 notebooks completely full, like front to back, of just me gratitude writing. Like just, I am grateful. like I said, for me, gratitude was a game changer in coming into alignment. Like for me, it was Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, turn it off. Good.
Yeah.
Bam, turn it off. Then it was connecting with that energy inside of me. Human design allowed me to understand that I was a triple split projector and there was great power in that. And so I connected with it. I sat in it. I got intimate with it. I was like, all right, what does this mean? And then I took gratitude and play. And it was just, I mean, it literally changed my life. I live in a house. I'm 32 years old, right? I live very differently than most people. We have no internet in our house by choice because this is a healing space. And so I'm actually connecting with you. Thank God for hotspot, because that's how I'm able to do these things, right? But I have no internet in the house. And what we replaced it with, painting, canvases, board games, music. I have every musical instrument that you could possibly think of. And it really allowed me an opportunity to play. Like, how many times of adults do we get to slow down and just play? Right. And when we're connecting with our energy, we're connecting back with that inner child, that blueprint, that essence, that truth that we had. When you look at children, like they just, all they want to do is play. And as adults, we kind of take ourselves so seriously. We stack these to-do lists of the things that we need to do. And then when we don't meet them, when we don't meet those expectations, we hammer ourselves down hard. So now people are waking up, they're going to work, they're coming home, they're watching TV and maybe letting the dog out, cooking dinner, and then they're doing it all over again.
Yeah.
That's not
and we
life.
still, as adults, we still act like kids. I mean, we pout all the time.
Yeah.
When we don't get our way, we just start pouting.
Yeah.
I work with
But
adults
now
that
it's like
do that
tapping
all
in.
day.
Now it's tapping into the fun part of being a kid, right? It's tapping into like that playful energy, just kind of going in and getting yourself lost. I did this like sculptor as one of my like moments. I took some like air dried clay and I sculpted this like this woman body and like this bodice. It was so beautiful until I realized that I was doing it for 6 hours and it was 3 a.m. and I'm like, oh my God, I've been playing all night. Like,
Wow.
But it really just allowed like the flow. Like it felt like I had endless amount of energy. Like that creative like juices just kind of kept going, you know, dancing, music, Legos. Like I have one of my friends, and I love to tell this story. So he's a manifesting generator and I call him the money man. And I was connecting with him, his energy, and he was, you know, looking to go deeper into what he was doing. And so I said, all right, well, when you were a kid, like 8, 9, 10 years old, like, what did you used to do for fun? He goes, well, I used to play Legos. I was like, all right, well, take your bohiny up to Target, get you a Lego set, and, you know, just tinker away for like 20 minutes. Now, when I said this, I was thinking like he would get like one of those like, you know, $10 little Lego kits. Like he got this like freaking Star Wars Millennium Falcon, like this Mac Daddy Lego set.
Oh, I would have gotten the same thing.
Oh yeah. And like all of a sudden I get this text message and he was like, look at what I just did. He was like, that was awesome. And it became a game changer for him. He was like, yo, I was so creative. Like he goes, I finished playing with this, like you told me. And he goes, and I had this like that all of this energy to work. And he goes, and I was working in a way that was like I was no longer like going against the grain. And so it was like, yeah, because you held space for yourself. Like, yeah, because you took the responsibility and the think I have to out of it. And you did something that really allowed that inner child permission to just be. And then it became like productive. Then you tapped into this endless energy, was like, oh, I want to go do this. I want to go, you know, do all of this work and be responsible. And it no longer became a I have to, it became a I get to. Right. And that mindset, we can talk about mindset all day, but if you don't understand how the energy wants to flow, harder to connect with it. Like I can say, hey, have a growth mindset, and I can tell you a bunch of techniques, but what a growth mindset looks for you and what a growth mindset looks for me is going to be solely based on how that energy is designed to flow inside of us, right? Absolutely. So it comes down to connecting with your unique energy and knowing what that power is.
And that's what it's all about. We all just seem lost, you know. I don't know why am working for this particular place or this person, and you wake up in the morning, oh my God, again. It's just we're lost. We're just trying to find our true way based on the human design.
Right. Based on your energetic flow.
Yeah.
It gives you your who you are, who is your type, your how do I tap into that, your why, right? Like why do I do it like this? And that's based on your strategy. It answers those questions. The what am I here to do? How am I here to do it? And it allows you to be unique. Now, you are a individual and you have the opportunity to choose. This is not a system that's going to limit you into a box. This is actually taking you out of the box and saying, hey, go be free. Go dance, go sing, go play. Go do the things that light you up and be unapologetically you while doing it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Nicole, that hour went by so quick, and and I'm sure I got a lot of information. It has been a very, very, very wonderful broadcast. Wonderful information. And it is a gift. It's a gift. You are a gift. The goddess.
Thank you.
The goddess gift. Yeah.
Thank you. It was such
a
pleasure being here.
So for those who want to reach out and to have a chart, have some work done, and have a consultation with you, they can find you on Instagram at true.everlasting.you.
Yes.
And do you guys have a website yet?
Morgan and I are working on that right now. We are also working on creating some content and some courses so that you'll be able to kind of walk yourself through that. We have a seminar coming up in November if you are local to the Lake County area. So you want to be on the lookout to the Instagram, because we put all of the information there first. So when the website is ready to launch, which should be hopefully by the end of the month, when the seminar dates are coming up, because it'll be a all-day workshop that will be held. You'll have human design readers, astrologers, yoga people, herbalists, all different practitioners come in one place. So just tune in to the Instagram page, and everything will let you know right there first.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that wraps up our show. Nicole,
it does.
It's a pleasure to have you on. And
thank you.
I'd like to have you on again, and maybe have Morgan come in and do a show with us too.
She's such a goddess.
Discussion.
Yes. She offers a unique perspective with astrology, and we together we talk about how human design and astrology, the energetics of it, and it's a beautiful dynamic. So thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored. The light in me sees the light in you. Thank you, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.
Definitely. For those who are watching and are listening later, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please subscribe. And that is in for the weekly seance. I appreciate y'all watching. Tune again next week, and y'all have a good night. You take care.
Bye-bye.